and Minju took the fever patch and the antipyretic medicine. Said, "You can rest assured. With these two things, it should be fine now." She tore open a fever patch, untied the cloth wrapped around Kai's head, stuck it on, opened the fever-reducing medicine again. Pei Shui carefully fed it in, silently glanced at the ruins behind. Only the ruler can fill this gap. Spoke up, "Thank you," and Minju was taken aback. Laughing said, "What do you want me to thank you for? It's all your own strength. I'm just an ordinary person and don't have such great abilities." And Minju looked at Kiki in her arms, whose expression had softened a bit. "Get up and speak. How many more days does your daughter need to rest? Waiting for the medication to take effect. I know a place. It's very safe there. Come with me. A few days." Silence frowned. "She is not my daughter." "Not a daughter." And Minju felt somewhat doubtful. "She is the daughter of my uncle." "Where are the others?" "I'm sorry." Silence. "I don't have much time. How long does it represent?" And Minju stared at her for a long while. They didn't even ask why. He sighed and said, "At least, it will take a day. Wait until her fever subsides." Sure. Silent path. And Minju, "By the way, I still don't know your name." "My name isn't Minju." Chenmo held Kai in his arms. Lowering her gaze, she said, "Silence, silence." And Minju recalled in her mind, in theory, such a capable person. In Tanhai City, it shouldn't be so obscure. And Minju spoke up, "I'll take you there. I stayed in that place for a long time. Very quiet. And it's very safe. You've had enough rest." After a few people left, on that ruins, the opening filled with silence and metal. Suddenly there was a loud bang, was knocked out. At the entrance of the cave, a sound echoed. Asterisk sound of a splash, asterisk. A generally thick sound. From within, a fierce-looking figure emerged. A zombie with long, sticky hair. The left half of the zombie's face was rotting away, revealing the stark white bones. On its shoulders and spine, sharp and deadly thorns have grown, spinning round and round. Those heart-red eyes, gazing in the direction where the two left. Silence. You just used. That is in Minju walking alongside the superpowered horse. After hesitating for a long time, finally I couldn't help but ask. Silently, the calm road unfolded. "I suppose so." And Minju listened and responded. Her expression turned utterly astonished. "It's somewhat incredible. It really is. Can I take another look?" Nodded silently. He took a steel ball out of his pocket. A miraculous scene appeared. Only the steel ball was seen. It gradually transformed into a pool of silver liquid, hovering in silence. In this apocalyptic world, there are some people can awaken special abilities. And I, able to control metal. Silence said softly, and Minju's beautiful eyes widened round. Spoke up. "Can I also?" Silently glanced at her hands. Said, "Perhaps. Awakening abilities. A need for an opportunity. Many people, this lifetime, unable to awaken supernatural abilities." And Minju felt a bit disappointed. But she didn't mind either. "No wonder you are so strong. Superpowers?" As if remembering something. And Minju said, "At our survivor's base, there is also a person. Special abilities. It seems to be called enhancement. What else? Strengthening." The silent eyes began to sparkle. "This is an ordinary system's ability. Relatively common. Most of them enhance the senses and strength. Of course. There are also some impressive types among them, and Minju asked Chen Mo many questions. But silence did not conceal anything either. These will come in the future. It's mostly common knowledge. It yet one type, and Minju kept murmuring. Her beautiful eyes widened in surprise. Looking at the mysterious silence before me, thought to myself secretly, who are you really? Like, you know so much. And Minju couldn't help but ask. Silently glanced at him. No one spoke. The two of them arrived at an old, abandoned building, at the lowest level of the passage, with a pile of discarded junk, wood blockade. The surroundings are incredibly vast. The view is excellent. One glance can observe the movements around, and Minju directly moved a wooden board in front of her. A clue just happened to reveal itself, a passage wide enough for an adult to enter, and Minju smiled and said, "This is the place. We stayed in this place for more than 10 days. The zombies in this area have been cleared out. Very safe. You and your girlfriend, niece, stay here. No one will disturb you." Chen Mo nodded silently and entered with a Minju. But suddenly a dissatisfied low growl came from behind. The two turned back to look. Only the Qiong Qi behind can be seen, due to its large size. I was unexpectedly stuck in that passage. Silently, she couldn't help but chuckle. It's time to lose weight. Qiong Qi let out another dissatisfied roar, then squeezed out of the narrow passage. Standing outside, and Minju thought for a moment. Open your mouth and speak. Wait a moment. I made this passage a bit bigger. Not needed. Silent path. Qiong Qi, you go up first. Qiong Qi nodded humanely, then crawled forward. With a leap, he soared into the air, unleashing incredible jumping power. He leaped directly 4 to 5 meters high, arrived at the second floor unfinished building, and Minju had already become somewhat numb. On this person and beast, I have lost count of how many times I've refreshed my worldview. When the time comes, the zombies encountered couldn't even get in. Then silence, with its powerful ability, struck them down. Silence. Let's go. And Minju nodded slightly. Spoke up. On the 4th floor. In the vast emptiness of the 4th floor, Ju Heoran and a group of survivors are eating the food they collected. Watching the crowd devour their food, Ju Heoran furrowed his brows and said, "Eat a little more sparingly. Officer Ju, everyone has been hungry for many days. Finally having the chance to enjoy a feast. You should join us for a meal too." "Yes." Ju Jie. Sai Liu. This instant noodle. That's truly authentic. Ju Heoran Wenyin. The furrow in her brow deepened. Looked down at the ground. That empty path. These guys are all afraid of losing out. I wish I could eat all this food at once. These foods. Mingming has persevered for over 10 days now, but today is only the first day. Has already been reduced by half. If only the moon were here. Such a situation will definitely not happen. F. Ju Heoran finally couldn't bear it any longer. Shouted loudly, "You only focus on the present. Once all the food is finished. Shall we go to that supermarket again? The remaining items, leave it to me to take care of." As soon as these words were spoken, the 5 or 6 survivors present, it became quiet. "Someone can't help it," whispered. "That's how it is said. But brother Ju, Ming is just. You eat the most." Ju Heoran's breathing was steady. To be honest, he doesn't know either. Why am I feeling hungry every day now? Especially after using that special ability. Shen Nai An. Fight your enemy. At this moment, Ju Heoran finally understood. and Minju usually has a hard time. At that time, there was also person number 16 present. Ju Heorin took a deep breath, eyelid twitching, suppressing the anger in my heart. No one spoke. His rationality. Tell yourself, these people have been abandoned. By myself, can live well, but his identity, yet it made him extremely restrained. A few people present saw Ju Heorin about to lose his temper. The masseuses from that demon realm, the best at reading between the lines. Lai Ma smiled and said cheerfully, "Ouch! What is everyone doing? Officer Ju's strength, but it is evident to all. If it weren't for Officer Ju, I'm afraid we might all die there. Officer Ju is right too. Before the rescue arrives, these foods, we need to save on food." Everyone reacted. They all changed their demeanor. Flattery and servility. Brother Ju, what you said is. We won't eat it anymore. That's right. I am full too. Save it for next time. I'm not eating anymore. Brother, they all know. In the midst of it. Only Ju Heorin has that ability. Can protect oneself. Ju Heorin's expression. This looks a bit better. Nodded and said, "These foods are all with me. Each person can claim according to the number of times per day." Finished speaking. Nor do they wait for these survivors. Say more about it. Ju Heorin then took those foods. Take it away. Put it next to yourself. An antle-minded person. The eyes rolled around. Hastily stepped forward. Want to please Ju Heorin. After all, the food now. But it's in his hands. Juji's strength. No one dared to snatch it forcefully. Now flatter. Perhaps the food we receive tomorrow. It will be a bit more. Officer Ju, are you tired? I will give you a massage. My technique is quite good. That enchanting massage girl said with a smile, "Juji, you are truly impressive today. If it weren't for you, this group of ours, already dead. Juji, take a good rest today. I will guard for you." Listening to the praises of Feng Cheng in my ears. Ju Heorin's expression. I couldn't help but take a closer look. You all know as well. I'll do it this way. It's all for everyone's sake. If not like this, next time search again. Food, I don't know how many more lives will be lost. His mindset. In this apocalyptic world, and knowingly, a little change has occurred. Yeah, having strength within oneself. There is food. Why should we care about identity? And to bind oneself. Clearly, they are trying to please themselves. Ju Heorin thought more and more that, once upon a time, the absurdity of oneself, and Minju, who once had a strong sense of justice, constantly suppressed, now that in Minju has left, Ju Heorin felt, this feeling doesn't seem so bad. At that moment, a loud noise suddenly erupted from below. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. What happened? Ju Heorin. Ju Heorin is enjoying a massage. Opened my eyes. A young man with blue hair beside me immediately got up and said, Juji, I'll go take a look. You can rest here. He quickly ran toward the edge without walls. Looking down, from below, a massive yellow figure, leaping up, gently landed on the ground. The blue-haired young man was so scared that his soul almost flew away. Thud, he collapsed to the ground. Screamed, "Oh my gosh! Juji Juji!" Qiong Qi jumped to the fourth floor of this unfinished building. Juji, his enormous pupils, illuminating the surrounding survivors. They were all startled. This. What kind of monster is this? Is it a tiger? Officer Zhu. Everyone turned to look at Zhu Heoran. Zhu Heoran's pupils constricted. Looking at the enormous creature before me, he instinctively placed his hand on the pistol at his waist. Speak loudly. Be careful. Stand by my side. Today's Qiong Qi, hulking and muscular. 4 pairs of claws, like sturdy pillars. Strong and powerful. Fur all over in yellow. The tail swayed. At the center of her brow, a purple awakening dark pattern, emitting a faint glow, as mighty as 4 tigers, filled with fierce and menacing gazes. Like a mighty lion, filled with a strong sense of oppression, roused Zhu Heoran. Upon encountering such a fierce beast, it couldn't help but make one's scalp tingle. Zhu Ji, what kind of monster is this? A survivor behind me has gone weak in the legs. Officer Zhu, you must protect us well. Zhu Heoran whispered angrily. Everyone be quiet. He faced off against Qiong Qi for a brief moment. Grin and bear it. He carefully took out the handgun from his bosom. At this point, no one would care. Where did this fierce beast come from? Qiong Qi lazily yawned, then slowly lay down on the ground. This action, it startled everyone present. "Hey, what are you doing?" Someone whispered. "I don't know. Why aren't you moving? Keep it down. Don't wake this guy up." When everyone's hearts are in their throats, a perplexing voice sounded. "What are you all doing here?" When I heard that sound, everyone's breathing synchronized. Suddenly looked over. At the bottom of the stairs, and Minju and Chen Mo slowly walked up. Chen Mo was holding the feverish Kai Kai in his arms, and Minju looked at him with a vigilant expression. The group hiding together. "What is this for?" "The visitor has arrived." Everyone was overjoyed. "Sister and officer and you're back. There is a fierce beast here." Fierce beast. And Minju was taken aback, then looked across. The poor Kai lying on the ground with squinted eyes. She smiled and said, It's nothing. That is my friend's pet. Don't be afraid. That's the group of survivors present. Wen Yin widened his eyes, a face full of disbelief. Chen Mo glanced at the Qiong Qi across from him. Spoke up. "Qiong Qi, come here." When hearing Chen Mo's call, Qiong Qi slowly got up, walked over. With every step I take, everyone's heart trembled, unable to stop shaking all over, fearing this exceptionally giant beast. Suddenly grabbed and eaten. Zhu Heoran saw this. The eyes kept twinkling. Chen Mo illuminated beside Minju. A strange hostility arose in my heart, furrowed his brow, and said, Who is she?" And Minju. I also encountered it nearby. A survivor. Her name is Chen Mo. Chen Mo, let me introduce you. This is my colleague, Zhu Heoran. Chen Mo nodded. Several survivors present. After realizing Chen Mo is one of their own, everyone's eyes sparkled, rushed forward. "Well, bro, awesome. So that's actually your pet. What do you do, buddy?" "Beast tamer." "This guy is really impressive, isn't he? This body type. Better than what I see on TV. The Lion King I saw was even bigger." Chen Mo. The appearance of Qiong Qi instantly became the center of attention. Zhu Heoran sighed. It became empty in an instant. His face turned a bit grim, let out a cold snort. Someone found a place to sit down. "Isn't it just a beast? I am an ability user." Chen Mo frowned. It is obviously a bit unfamiliar. At this moment, and Minju spoke up. "All right. Everyone move aside. Don't disturb this little girl while she's sleeping. Chen Mo's niece has a fever. It's coming to our place. Let's take a day off for now. The bright moon will soon depart. As soon as these words were spoken, the people present were even more shocked. This safe place. These safe places. Who wouldn't want to stay forever? And the officer in front of me, officer and the person brought along. To think you would leave after just one day. Bro, aren't you afraid of those zombies outside? Where are you planning to go? Aye. And Minju coughed twice. Everyone present, clearly a bit afraid of her. They dispersed one after another, and Minju spoke with a hint of apology. Sorry, it really is your pet. Something special. Everyone is very curious. Chen Mo said calmly, It's nothing, and Minju nodded, looking at Kai Kai in Chen Mo's arms. Step forward. He touched her forehead. Her forehead. Her eyes sparkled. It's getting better. You can take a good rest here. I'll be right back. Chen Mo nodded. On the other side, the unexpected arrival of Chen Mo. Zhu Heoran clearly feeling a bit unhappy. The young man with blue hair said quietly, Zhu Ji, I stand by your side. Just a beast, I believe. It definitely isn't your match, Zhu Ji. Zhu Heoran was somewhat surprised. Glanced at her, feeling much better. The young man with blue hair is strong. I couldn't help but think immensely in my heart. This group of fools, little do they know who it really is. The boss's food here. It's all in Brother Zhu's hands. Unable to discern the situation. Zhu Ji, sister and is here. Zhu Heoran is upright, then looked up. And Minju walked towards me quietly from a distance. Sensual figure, the blue skirt on the lower body, because a large piece was torn off, exposing long and smooth thighs. Zhu Heoran couldn't help but eat for a moment. With gentle eyes, he said, I was wrong before. I shouldn't. Zhu Heoran, where is the food? And Minju immediately asked. Zhu Heoran was taken aback, then smiled. The bag beside me is filled with food. Took it over. Said, Are you hungry? And Minju shook her head. Not. I am planning to take some. Feed the silence and that little girl. Zhu Heoran listened. The smile froze. The blue-haired young man beside me, clear and wide-eyed, said, Sister N, these foods. But we worked hard to get this. You need to give that unknown origin. The stranger leaving tomorrow. This sound cannot be said to be small. Surrounding survivors. As soon as I heard the word food, come over right now. Zhu Heoran coldly refused. No way. Last moment. Still friendly to the few survivors of silence. Immediately changed his expression. Officer N. These foods. We don't have enough to share among ourselves. You still need to give it to an outsider. This isn't too good, is it? Yes. You know it just as well as I do. For this little food. How many people did we lose? And Minju saw this. She frowned. He looked at them with some displeasure. Me and Zhu Heoran. I didn't recognize you when I found you. I will also share my food with you. So you consider yourselves outsiders too? This. The gathered survivors spoke. Indeed. Almost everyone present was rescued by Zhu Heoran and Minju, no matter who it is. And Minju treats everyone equally. No bias. Zhu Heoran, I said it won't work. If it has always been with us. That's good to say. But you said it too. That person will leave tomorrow. And Minju frowned tightly, looking at the hostile and resistant group of survivors. Let out a sigh and said, Then give me my food. Is it okay now? The faces of the survivors present finally looked a bit better. Food distribution by rotation. The most deserving of food in the entire gathering. It's undoubtedly in Minju and Zhu Heoran. So, everyone had no objections. Zhu Heoran was silent for a moment, then took out a small bucket of instant noodles from the bag, then picked up again, bottle of water and biscuits, passed it over, and Minju took the food, picked up a bag of cookies and started eating, turning to stand beside Silence. Placed the food over there, whispered, "Are you hungry? Eat up." Seeing this scene, survivors on the other side, someone couldn't help but say, "Officer and is truly kind-hearted. In this apocalyptic world, that guy has another beast with him. If we had known there was food, can't guarantee that something outrageous won't happen. Officer Zhu, you can't bear to watch it either, right?" The group of people gathered around Zhu Heoran, constantly instigating. Zhu Heoran didn't say anything. Glimmers of light and shadow in the eyes. Gazing directionlessly towards the Silence. Silently gazing at the food before me. He naturally witnessed it. Everything happening over there. And Minju said, "You don't need to think too much. These are all my own food." Silence shook his head. "Thank you. No need. I have it myself." Speaking, Silence opened the backpack on Qiong Qi's back. He took out a few sausages and some water, and that's that. The most unbelievable thing, he actually took out something from that backpack. Took out 2 bowls of self-heating rice. Braised beef rice. Sauce-flavored braised meat rice. And Minju opened her small mouth. The beautiful eyes stared wide open. "What's in your bag?" "There is also self-heating rice." Others are foolish. Not just him alone. The survivors in the distance. Seeing this, they widened their eyes in disbelief. "Oh wow, that is self-heating rice." That's rice. I haven't eaten rice and meat in a long time. In comparison, these foods of theirs, it's nothing at all." Someone tiptoed to look into the backpack. When seeing the dazzling array, after a variety of foods, I was so excited that I almost couldn't catch my breath. In his bag, all food. It's all food. But is it true or not? You need to know. The bag that Qiong Qi is carrying, big and small. There are 4 or 5. The backpack is already spacious and has a large capacity. These bags contain, is it all just food? In the eyes of all the survivors present, all revealed greedy eyes, looking at the Silence across from me. Tear open that self-heating meal. I poured some water in and it started to heat up. One by one, unconsciously, began to swallow saliva. And Minju was momentarily taken aback. I don't know what to say. But just thinking about the immense power of Silence, even dared to venture in alone, in the large supermarket, safely administered the fever-reducing medicine, bring back the fever-reducing patches. I'm afraid, for him, wait for others. After enduring countless hardships, the food that can be obtained. It's just that. It should be easy for him to obtain. 2 self-heating meals in front of me, constantly rising hot steam. Actually, this thing. He didn't carry much either. The self-heating meal is large in size. The occupied space is large. Compared to filling foods like compressed biscuits and bread, besides taste, it's really lacking too much. 15 years into the apocalypse, he has been consuming supply liquid for at least 4 to 5 years in the war zone. For Chenmo, it doesn't matter what you eat, as long as it can fill the belly. But sometimes, life still needs some sense of ritual. For example, having a steaming, fragrant bowl of sticky rice in the apocalypse. A few minutes later, the sound of boiling water gradually subsides. Chenmo picked up a copy, handed it over. Well, and Minju was taken aback. Then it murmured in disbelief. Give it to me. Chenmo nodded. Sure. Thank you very much. And Minju suddenly felt overwhelmed by favor, looking at this fragrant soy sauce braised pork rice in front of me. The cookie in my hand suddenly lost its flavor. The stomach rumbled uncontrollably, and Minju's face flushed red. Sat down with a thud. Hi, hi. He lowered his head a bit embarrassed and said, Thank you. You're welcome. Chan Mo smiled, opened the lid of the box in hand. In an instant, the fragrance filled the air. The brown sauce lays the foundation. There are still a few pieces of beef on top. In an instant, the fragrance wafted everywhere. Even Ju Heorin couldn't help but take a glance. HMPH, surrounding survivors, dumbfounded. My eyes are starting to feel sore and red. I originally ate a lot of food. They are not very hungry. Saliva flowed all over the ground. That beef rice bowl, what does it taste like? Everyone, take a look at me. I'll take a look at you. I seem to. And Minju is a bit hungry again, somewhat excited and sacred, holding the sauce-flavored braised pork rice in my hands, like finding a treasure, carefully uncovering a little bit at a time, afraid of knocking it over. This is braised pork rice. Braised pork rice in the apocalypse. Take a bite of the steaming hot rice. It is something that many people dream of, looking at the abundant gold and silver of Hanoi. Distinctly separated rice, the sauce and braised meat on top, and Minju's small hand. He picked up the rice spoon with a slight tremble, dug a bite, put it in the mouth. Ah, this familiar scent, striking the soul. Happiness. Awu, ao, and Minju began to eat heartily. Her beautiful eyes glistened with a layer of mist. Surrounding survivors, unconsciously following in Minju, started to chew. It's just like when eating. They exchanged a glance, bright gaze, like wolves and tigers, and the silence on the other side. I have finished eating, looking at in Minju, the excited, tilted face. The expression was a bit strange, did not say much, but came to Kai Kai's side, took out some porridge from the backpack. He picked it up after taking the fever reducer. After using the fever-reducing patch, Kiki's condition, it has clearly improved a lot. It's like being in a deep sleep. Silently looked at Kiki's little hand, the awakened dark patterns above. It seems to be almost complete. Somewhat comforted, gently touched her beautiful hair. Ju Heorin seemed to resist silence. From silence comes after. The two of them had no communication at all. Evening. Everything that happened today. Let many survivors. Everyone felt incredibly exhausted. Once a person is full after eating, it will make you think more. And nature is the same. Many people are crying, expressing the pain in my heart. Very soon, everyone gradually started to rest. Silence leaned against Kiki's belly. The faint candlelight flickered around. Her eyes sparkled. Not sure what to think. Silence from the pocket took out the golden box collected today. As the saying goes, fortune favors the bold. As I left the large supermarket, silence were gritting one's teeth. Take the golden boxes from the heads of the zombies you killed. Took it out. 3 pieces in one connection. 46 inferior gold boxes. You can say, it was the most bountiful harvest. It goes without saying. The dangers within. The quality of zombies in that large supermarket. Very unusual. In theory, the roar of the Lion King. It is to gather the zombies. But I don't know why. The zombies suddenly stopped moving, did not choose to attack oneself. Silence shook its head. Is it difficult to say? The zombies in the large supermarket. It exists at least at the second level. Moreover, it is very likely about to reach the third level. Like these zombies, the speed of enhancement with a certain type, much faster than humans. Before rebirth, zombies in many regions. We have already reached the fourth stage. Humanity's side. The second order ability users have just emerged, having the opportunity to resist. After absorbing these gold boxes, controlling one's own abilities, we should be able to reach the second level. Silent eyes glimmer, just as I was about to absorb it. A voice sounded. Aren't you going to sleep yet? And Minju appeared without anyone knowing when. She looked at the silence. I randomly found a place to sit down. Whispered, every night for us, there will always be someone to take turns watching. You can rest assured. Silent nod. What about you? And Minju glanced over. The others on the other side have already fallen asleep. Mumbled with his head down. Since the consensus began, I have always slept very little. Here, yesterday, there were still 16 survivors left. And today, only 6 people are left. Silent with a calm expression. Open your mouth and speak. This is the end of the world. You need to try to learn to accept it. And Minju let out a bitter laugh. Said, silence. Do you know? Actually, I know. After that, we were left with only 6 survivors. For some reason, instead, I felt somewhat relieved. I might not be as upright as I imagined. Ju, Heorin, and I need to take care of 16 people. I'm just so tired. Silence lingered for a moment. Looking at the bonfire in front of me, Yaoyu said, don't think too much. Just be true to your own heart. In the apocalypse, almost no one remains unchanged. At least, and Minju is the most beautiful person she has ever seen. Few, those who can still hold on to their original intentions. And Minju, what about you? What are you doing this for? Silence spoke no more, and Minju smiled. Sit up from the ground, stretched lazily, perfectly showcased her alluring curves. Forget it. You will set off early tomorrow morning. Take a good rest. And Minju turned around. A silent voice suddenly echoed from behind. I want to find someone. He is very important to me. I see. And Minju paused. Then he smiled and said, wishing you success. After Minju left, silently, one person began to quietly absorb the power of the Golden River. It's late at night. Silent and serene. The blue horse guarding near the 4th floor. The young man fell asleep. If I had known, I wouldn't have tried to show off. I'm so bored. Zaiyu yawned. His gaze unconsciously drifted towards the silent direction. On the backpack carried by Qiong Qi. The scene of heating the meal today flashes in my mind. Unconsciously swallowed. A hint of longing appeared in his eyes. That bag should have a lot of food in it, right? Zaiyu couldn't help but mumble. A glimmer of greed flashed in his eyes. He looked around at the survivors who had already fallen asleep. The body uncontrollably moves forward. Ishu's eyes. He walked over tiptoeing. I'll just take a little. Just a little bit. Zaiyu continuously comforted herself. He came to the side of the silent one. Walked carefully past him. Silence slowly opened its eyes. Under this night sky, the gaze was exceptionally calm and cold. Behind the lying Qiong Qi, Zaiyu saw the climbing backpack that Chenmo took out, which contained self-heating rice. He carefully reached out his hand to unzip it. Still, when I saw the backpack filled to the brim, Behind the neatly stacked food, Zai burst forth with astonishing brilliance. So much. Uh, uh, I said it a long time ago. This guy is dangerous and has an unknown background. I see his pet just wants to secretly eat all of us in the middle of the night. Ju Heoran also stared at the silence across with hostility. "Yuer, why are you still standing next to that person? Come here quickly." And Minju tightly furrowed her delicate brows. Coldly said, "What are you all talking about?" Silence could never do such a thing. During the day, he witnessed the incredible power of Chenmo firsthand. If you really want to take action against yourself and others, he could have done this much earlier. Even Ju Heoran, who possesses the same supernatural abilities. There is simply no way to oppose it. Why make it so complicated? Silence. What on earth is going on? And Minju turned around and asked. Qiong Qi let out a low roar at the group of people across from him. This sound scared their group half to death. Silence said softly, "This guy want to steal something." Zai Yu's expression changed suddenly. Immediately defended. "You're talking nonsense. We have food ourselves. Why would I steal your things?" Silently watched him. He spoke slowly. "I never said it was food. Why are you in such a hurry?" Everyone looked over at once. And Minju frowned and questioned. "Zai, honestly, what did you do? Do you want to steal the food from the silent bag?" He doesn't know he's a fool. It is naturally understood that silence does not require any lies. Then there is only one possibility. "Thank you for this guy lying." Zai shuddered all over. Quickly looked to Ju Heoran for help. Ju Heoran spoke. Zai, but we are our own people. Do you not even believe us?" Instead, they believe in an outsider. And Minju, frustrated, retorted with a smile. "Ju Heoran, have you ever thought about it? If the pet is silent, I'm going to eat you all. You, Ju Heoran, are not afraid. How many others can resist without fighting back? He is afraid we will discover him, feeling guilty for stealing." Zai shouted, "Ju Heoran, silence. If you are a man, step forward. Standing behind the moon, what skill is that?" He had long been annoyed by this person, just happened to borrow this reason. Drive him out. At this moment, the silence that had never spoken finally opened up. "I don't need you to believe me. If Qiong Qi really wants to eat you, what do you think? You still have the chance to stand here. Do you want to talk to me?" "Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Come over here. Be careful he doesn't hurt you." And Minju remained unmoved. Even he, who has always stood on the side of silence, at that moment I didn't know what to say. Turn around, with a face full of disbelief. Sink. Silence. Why are you doing this? He is damned. Just 3 simple words. Yet it left everyone present feeling a chill deep within. Incredible fear. This person. Don't you feel any guilt? Silence. You should know. The importance of food. And Minju bit her lip tightly. Silent. I know. But you shouldn't have killed her either. Let's go. As soon as these words were spoken, Silent eyes suddenly became extraordinarily distant, and in the cold indifference. "You will meet many people." She thought that, and Minju is the kind of person who is like a fish. But I made a mistake myself. At least the fish. It will absolutely not be allowed. There are such people who exist. And Minju, in indifference, the most useless. It is compassion. Such people. It's better for you to stay a bit farther away. Your identity. It shouldn't be the chains that bind you. That's all there is to say. Different paths. Not working together. Finished speaking. It doesn't matter whether Minju heard it or not. Silence slowly turned around. Pick up the miracle from the ground. Dan said. Qiong Qi, let's go. Seeing the silence leave so decisively, the people present, everyone let out a sigh of relief, and Minju felt a shiver run through her body. An inexplicable surge rose within me, a feeling of lingering loss. Could not help but shout loudly. Silence! Wait a moment. Silence did not respond. This is just the beginning of the apocalypse. Many people are still bound by the rules of the past, trapped by morality, and Minju was no exception. As time passed, what has been left behind, most are willing to do anything, only for oneself, because there are only these people. To survive in this apocalypse, survival of the fittest, there are still many things I haven't finished. I don't have time to explain these to Minju. See the silent figure gradually descending the stairs, disappearing into the night. Before it was still A. The crowd appeared timid and withdrawn, suddenly became tough, finally left. Our pet. That really scared me. You say, that pet, it wouldn't really eat people, would it? She actually killed Ziyu. It's simply insane. But there was no one present. Show sympathy. In this apocalypse, the death of someone close. They have seen it all. And Ziyu, once again with those present, not related by blood or affection. I don't know why. At this moment, most people's hearts, a hint of secret delight lingered in their heart. Because Ziyu has died, represents the food here. I can hold on for a few more days. Zhu Heyoren also breathed a sigh of relief. She looked at Minju beside her. At this moment, Minju, finally unable to endure any longer, turn around and look. This group of fence-sitters said, if someone steals your food, what will you do? Silence speaks the truth. In this apocalyptic world, food is a person's lifeline. I originally intended to let silence reign, join our team. In this way, the safety of everyone, with better protection. Do you remember that large supermarket from before? A person in silence. Go in and find the fever medicine and cooling patches. Can still come out safely. With her strength, do you really think she's here? I will share your food. Minju glared angrily. A group of people present. Several survivors present. Wang Yan's expression changed drastically. Rao is Zhu Heyoren. Couldn't help but widen their eyes. Her face was filled with disbelief. This is impossible. She immediately said that supermarket had already revealed her. Let's not mention how she got in. Only the zombies inside. It's impossible for her to be alone, able to handle. At this moment, several survivors around. They said in shock, the supermarket is full of zombies. They witnessed it with their own eyes. Sister N, is this true? What is her background, anyway? Could it be someone from the military district? If silence were the voice of the military, so everyone. This will lead to a huge loss. And Minju's face was cold and aloof, looking at Zhu Heyoren. Zhu Heyoren, your inability doesn't mean others can't do it. That is what I saw with my own eyes. These foods, you all can just keep it for yourselves. Finished speaking, and Minju left without looking back. Where are you going? Zhu Heyoren became anxious. Sister N, why do you have to leave too? Several survivors. It is also advised against. If Minju were no longer here, so Officer Zhu alone, can't protect so many people. And Minju said coldly, rather than sitting here and waiting for death, it's better to go outside. Find a way to contact the military district. Person, if any of you are willing, then come with me. Ju Heoran's pupils suddenly constricted. You're crazy. This is the safest place. There are zombies outside, even awakening one's own abilities. They don't dare to run too far, let alone the ordinary person and Minju. And Minju paused for a moment, the group of survivors behind, facing away from each other. No one moved. She shook her head in utter disappointment. Non Tao. Perhaps silence speaks the truth. This identity has become my shackle. She took a deep breath, the side of beautiful eyes. He resolutely walked downstairs. Giant animing watches the moon leave. Ju Heoran gritted his teeth, kept his head down and said nothing. Here, still able to live in peace. Went out. Then it truly is facing the end of the world. The other side, nighttime, cannot hinder the journey of silence and Qiong Qi. Qiong Qi bit off the head of a zombie, started chewing and swallowing. Seeing this scene, silence cannot bear the difficulty anymore. You are still the best, huh? Compared to those burdensome survivors. Not only is the combat ability strong, the most important thing, still a good person, easy to take care of. Qiong Qi is a type of eating zombies and chickens become one, can further enhance strength. Qiong Qi turned around, called out with some dissatisfaction, expressing oneself, I still prefer to eat regular meat. Silence illuminated the surroundings, took out the map. We have now arrived at Heihui Road, from Man Road, where Luo Changshan is located. It's very close now, but the same, this place. We have already arrived at the city center. Upon arriving here, silent ears, I could always faintly hear the faint sound of a heart beating. Slash, slash, like this. There is a great terror hidden beneath this ground. Silence severely revealed a hint of vigilance. Qiong Qi, after arriving here, be careful. Although after becoming an ability user, all 5 senses have been greatly enhanced. But in this pitch-black evening, everywhere there are signs of crisis. The silent gaze flickers. Activate the Dominion ability. The surrounding metallic material. It seems to be all in my mind. Become clear and visible. Metallic liquid streams flowing from the ground, surrounding billboards, iron bars, vehicle. They slowly began to wriggle. In front of him, stacking up a natural barrier. The past has returned. Zombies on the road. Everything has been cleaned up. Asterisk slap asterisk. The sound of a lighter igniting. Silence casually removed a few wooden planks. Light it up. Boo. A small campfire. Slowly rising. A faint flicker of firelight dances. A crackling sound echoed through the air. Silence let Kiki down. I don't really mind. But for the safety of Kiki, he still chose to. Let's take a break here for a moment. Wait until dawn to set off. Silently watching the campfire. Take out those golden boxes again. There is still one first-level gold box left. He began to absorb the energy into his palm, not knowing how much time has passed. The dominion of the supernatural ability begins to extend outward. The surrounding metal objects began to tremble. 8 meters, 10 meters. Upon reaching the limit of a level 1 Esper at 12 meters, but it still hasn't stopped. 14 meters, 17 meters. When the range of the controlling ability reaches 20 meters, all metallic substances within range, it all seemed to establish a connection with oneself. Second level ability user, a full 18 meters of elevation, effective shooting range of a handgun. It's only 15 meters. Silence opened its eyes. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. A small change can lead to a significant transformation. Silently watching the abandoned vehicles surrounding me, and a jumble of metal objects, a thought crossed my mind. These metals instantly turned into a pool of liquid. And these metals are continuously refined under the dominance of supernatural abilities. Became harder. Silence gradually raised a metallic wall using his dominion ability. Looking at the side, he said to Qiong Qi, "Qiong Qi, let's see if we can break this." Qiong Qi as a kind of... The awakening dark patterns appeared very early, although it is currently only a first-level type. But when facing the second-order Lion Mouse King, and can remain completely unafraid, he then still holds the upper hand, easily tearing apart the tough fur of the Lion Mouse King. The power is incredibly terrifying. Qiong Qi lazily stretched out its claws. For him, ordinary metal, like paper in front of him, there's no difference. He scratched with his claws. Then he was stunned. The metallic wall formed by the mastery of extraordinary powers looms ahead. Not even a scratch appeared. In the large pupils of Qiong Qi, confusion emerged. Looked at my own claws. Then he got up from the ground, lifting its sturdy front paw, with a mighty grip, in on the metallic wall before me. It even sparked, aside from a scratch. Surprisingly, it wasn't torn apart. And this, just one side. A metal wall less than 3 millimeters thick. Silent strength. Her eyes sparkle. If these metals, enhanced by the sovereign powers, attached to the katana, what will happen? He took out the sword. Gently tap on that metal wall. Suddenly, the metal wall transformed into a pool of silver liquid, gradually wrapping around the katana, constantly merging in, the katana in hand. In an instant, it became much heavier, became more glossy and sharp, gleaming with silver light. Silence unfolds ahead. The things before my eyes, easily torn apart. And because the weight is heavy, the power brought by this strike, equally fierce. Boom. Round. A deep crack was cut open. The silence deepens the heart's palpitations. Nandao, I do miss the battlefield a bit. That can detect the level of abilities of the individuals. Master of abilities. You should have reached the second level by now. He is now. Can only act within the range of superpowers, and can roughly judge. You need to know. As the abilities increased, early stage, you might not be able to see the difference in abilities. But when reaching the fourth level, the leap of extraordinary abilities is about to happen. Earth-shattering changes. And the SSS level supernatural ruler of the divine system, even more powerful. The once mighty ninth-tier ability user, Shiyuan, who ruled over supernatural powers. As long as you stand on the earth, slaughter a level 8 deity, chalking the world, it is said. When he uses his supernatural powers, the earth within the boundaries is all at his disposal. Countless rock pillars rise up. The scene was incredibly magnificent. The ruler of today, what will it be like? Silence began to feel a bit expectant. He looked at the remaining poor-quality gold box. After the master of abilities reaches the second tier, the power of the inferior gold box no longer sufficient to support the enhancement and advancement of abilities, and his second supernatural ability, Tianquan, is even more special and extraordinary. Even a first-tier golden box. None of it could help him get promoted. But silence, take good care of it. When the ability users frequently awaken people from various factions, After everyone understood the function of the golden box in the long future of the apocalypse, in various war zones, it has not yet been established. Before issuing the coins, these golden boxes, all will become a substitute for currency, the hardest currency. And now in the zombie's head, the golden boxes have mostly been produced. There are definitely survivors from many large anomalies. All have discovered the mysteries within. A person, no matter how strong, the golden box obtained. It is also limited. If it were possible before the golden box became popular, relying on this information gap, with those large survivor groups, in exchange for a large number of golden boxes. Even in the apocalypse, I will also become a big money tycoon. Silent eyes flicker, looking at the sleeping Qiong beside me. In and out, I finally became a second-tier ability user. Wait for me. After safely delivering Kai to Luo Junction, you can confidently head to the North China region now. Every morning, in silence, Qiong furrowed her little brow. A voice calls forth the heroic spirit. Slowly opened his eyes. This is where? She lifted her head, took a look. Silence with closed eyes. Brother. Silence sleeps lightly. Soon woke up. When I saw Qiong waking up in my arms, the expression changed. Quickly reached out to brush aside Qiong's bangs. He touched her forehead. Much better. Qiong's little face showed some confusion. Brother, what's wrong with you? Have I been sleeping for a long time? Silently spoke softly. It's nothing. How do you feel? Katie, are you feeling unwell anywhere? Qiong showed a thoughtful expression, touched his own head, then said, my head seems to be hurting a bit. Brother, is Kai about to get smarter? A silence trembled. Couldn't help but chuckle. It seems like something has come to mind. Silence took the fever-reducing medicine out of the backpack, picked up another bottle of water, twisted open. Qiong, be good. Take this medicine. Medicine. As soon as I heard this word, Qiong's face showed an expression of extreme reluctance. She spent a long time building her mental resilience. In the end, under the silent persuasion of Candy, just obediently take the fever-reducing medicine. Silence noticed the awakening dark pattern on Qiong's right hand. It has now become very complete. That being said, Qiong should have awakened her special abilities by now. Silently asked softly, Katie, tell brother, did you hear any sounds when you woke up? Or perhaps there is a feeling of something different. In theory, the first awakening of supernatural abilities allows one to hear that voice. I don't know what the reason is. The listener was actually able to understand its meaning, as if enlightened by a sudden realization, suddenly receive a lot of information about their abilities. Qiong paused for a moment. Furrowing his brows, he began to ponder. Brother, the things here. It suddenly seems so clear. Sound. It seems there really is one. Kai's eyes sparkled. Said. Chen Mo Wenny looked at her with some anticipation. But this feeling, it's just like listening to a parent discussing their child's exam results. Qiong had sensed the hidden loss before. This type of supernatural ability, perhaps it's a matter of the mind. It could also just be a regular ability enhancement that strengthens the five senses. Qiong bit her finger, furrowing her brows. It seems like while I was sleeping, someone told me something. Inspiration, F-level abilities, presence of summoning. This is an ordinary type of ability, but the effect is really too small. It hardly has any effect. That's why it was classified as S-rank. Silence carries a hint of disappointment, but I didn't think much of it. After all, able to awaken superpowers. In the end, it's just a minority, and the ability grade reached level A, or above a level S level, even rare, B level abilities. They are all quite remarkable. In silence, we are equally grateful. Qi with weak abilities can live peacefully and steadily. In this apocalyptic world, in my arms Qi suddenly shook his head. The small face showed a look of difficulty. Spoke up. It seems like something happened. Speaking of this, Kai looked at Chen Mo with pity. Elder brother, I can't remember. Silence paused slightly. This time, even she frowned. In her memory, it seems like there is nothing. Call the ability of doing things. After a moment of silence and contemplation, he looked at Qi. Qi, try to feel yourself. The awakened dark pattern on the right hand. She wants Kai to use it for a while. The supernatural abilities one awakens. Perhaps this will help us understand something. Qi nodded in confusion. She curiously raised her right hand, then tightly closed his eyes. The expression is very cute. Suddenly, countless images. A flash passed through her mind. In my arms Qi let out a painful scream. It was an extremely terrifying scene. Deep crimson twilight sky. The crow circled in the sky. A massive creature let out a long roar. Blood, gunshots, screams of agony. In countless bodies. At this moment Qi. The expression was one of immense pain. Fine beads of sweat appeared on the forehead. Muttering something continuously. It feels like something happened. Bad things usually. No, do not. No, don't come over. Katie. Silence was broken by Kai's expression. Startled. See the awakening dark patterns on Qi's right hand. Constantly flickering. Strangely eerie light. Continuously calling out, Katie, are you okay? In my arms Qi suddenly opened my eyes. As if, what a scare, after seeing the silent face, directly plunging into the embrace of silence. He held her tightly in his arms. With tear-filled big eyes, she said, Elder brother, so scary. Qi is very scared, silent and strong. Dan Meng gently stroked her head and comforted her. All right, all right. Katie, it's nothing. What exactly happened? Katie, can you tell big brother? In theory, using supernatural abilities. This situation shouldn't occur. The power of this vision. What is it really? After a while, in my arms Qi, I just calmed down a bit. With a somewhat startled expression, she said, Brother, I want to eat candy. Silence fell. Then he chuckled and patted her head. Did not refuse either. Casually pulled from the pocket. Take out a bag of soft candy. I handed it to her after opening it. Chomped. This sweet and cloying flavor. This made her little face look a bit better. Qi thought for a moment. Spoke up. Brother, I saw so many images. So scary. Screen. Silence furrowed his brow. Could it be related to Kai's awakened abilities? Can I talk to my brother? What are you seeing? Qi nodded. I recalled. I saw a very, very big mountain. Then there are so many people. Those people are all holding guns. Everyone is attacking that big mountain. That mountain still has hands. A slap. Go down. Many people died. Qi could only watch. Can't do anything. Speaking of this, Kiki's eyes revealed a look of fear, holding on to silence tightly. Silence pondered for a moment. Mountain. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something. The pupils suddenly constricted. He finally spoke up. Katie, that mountain. Did you see clearly? Can you describe what she looks like to your brother? Katie, brother, it seems like it's not a mountain either. It seems like another very big baby. Bye bye de. Pang pang de. Then she would also call. Every time she calls, many people will die. Does she only have one foot? She will die. Silence immediately asked. Kiki's eyes widened. He looked up and said nothing. Correct. It seems so, brother. The silence grew heavier on their faces. Because she knows. What did Kiki see? Tianhai City deities. Shaoxi Shen. In the previous life. I am not in Tianhai City, staying too long in Luo Xingxin's organization, when she traveled to other regions, preparing to seek refuge from the military district. It is said that the Shaoxi god has appeared in Tianhai City. According to the records in the files, the power of Shaoxi Shen at that time, about 6 levels. The appearance is that of a baby. It stands as tall as a small mountain, and he, only one leg, because of its massive size. One leg is simply inconvenient for movement. Shaoxi Shen's movement speed is extremely slow. Most of the time, I just lie still in one place. At that time, the lion had already become a force to be reckoned with. There are quite a few people with special abilities. To become the true local emperor of Tianhai City, Yuo Tiangxing dispatched over 2,000 people to confront the 20-some ability users. The result is total annihilation. Until the other end of Tianhai City, the overlord. It is the appearance of Qiong Qi. Just resolved it. But I have returned from rebirth. Why is Kiki able to see? Yes. Yes. Silence murmurs endlessly. He suddenly thought of someone. That was a supernatural being from the 9th war zone. Very high status. It is said that this person has an ominous ability. Even an ordinary person. But they are always able to anticipate the enemy's moves, helping the 9th war zone overcome several difficulties. People within the supernatural community, they all refer to him as the prophet. The most astonishing prediction. It was just 10 days ago. Foreseeing ahead. The miracle of a ruler's downfall. Silently gazing at the miracle in my arms. The more I think about it, the more I feel it's possible. Previously indicated by the miracle. The zombie. In theory, Qiong Qi should not be unaware. Miraculous abilities. Perhaps it's not the presence of an F-level existence, but rather the same ability as that prophet. Silently, I took a deep breath. Looking at Kiji, he said with utmost seriousness, "Miracle, your ability. Don't tell anyone, okay? If someone asks about the strange, you just tell the other person. Your superpower is the ability to summon presence." Miracle's small face showed some confusion, but still she obediently nodded. Jiao Han said, "Brother, Miracle understood. Miracles promise you." A silent smile. He rubbed his little head. "Miracle is really obedient. I'll reward you with another one." Is one package okay?" Miracle tentatively said. 10. It gradually became a bit brighter. Silence carries miracles. Setting off once again. Miracle sat on the back of Qiong Qi. Perhaps it was the fever that awakened my abilities. Because I slept too long. He is unusually energetic now, curiously intrigued, constantly surveying the surroundings. Silence walks by. The eyes kept shimmering. Seems to be pondering something. Miraculous abilities. If one could truly foresee the future, if those high-ranking officials from the military district, or perhaps those large survivors, the power knows. It is definitely not a good thing. The prophet of the 9th military district back then. It was on a certain day. Silently vanished. No one knows where he went. Silence without thinking any further. Take out the map. After the end of the world, the appearance here, great changes have occurred. But fortunately, faintly, one can still recognize familiar signs from various places. Determine what position you have reached. Silence is difficult to bear. It's coming. 10 kilometers to go. We've arrived at the place where Luo Tianxing is. After moving forward for a while, Silence avoided the city center, the location of the baptized deity. In this place, suddenly discovered footsteps of many survivors, surroundings. There are even more zombie corpses, with traces of bullets from firearms. Silence came to a halt. He glanced at the bloodstains on the ground. It is obviously just passed recently. But these zombies' brains, all were inevitably excavated. The golden box has also been taken away. This knife, Silence noticed. A gleaming sharp dagger on the ground. Nepalese cookery. This thing, it is Luo Tianxing's person. Once came to this. At that moment, suddenly a sound came from directly ahead. The sound of massive gunshots. Bob Bob. Her eyes sparkled. Spoke up. Let's go. At the same time, on a street surrounded by zombies. Tubu tubu. A loud gunshot rang out. A robust figure. Muscles all over the body. The man dressed in a black jacket. Holding a rifle. Constantly facing the surrounding zombies. Conduct indiscriminate shooting. Liu Meng's expression was fierce. He looked at the horde of zombies rushing toward him and shouted angrily, "Damn it! Jiangji always makes me take care of this group of newcomers. Sooner or later, you little brats will get yourselves into trouble." Liu Meng was almost driven mad by this group of new survivors who joined the lions. It's a group of students. They arrived one by one, filled with excitement, bragging about how amazing I am. When you really encounter zombies, damn, this group of students is fully armed, still scared to death, not even daring to fire a single shot. The familiar old lion members beside him looked grim. Menchi, I can't do it anymore. There are too many of these ghostly things. I can't hold on any longer. The newcomer, don't just stand there, damn it. Go ahead. The students stood together in a corner. I was already scared silly. Come back. Come back. Completely forget how arrogant they were when they first arrived. No, we dare not. Out of bullets. Damn you. Liu Ming suddenly looked towards a few people huddled together at the other end. The student, with trembling hands holding the gun, yelled angrily, "When the bullets run out, use a knife. Wasn't the knife given to you? Are you even a man? Go poke those zombies. When a person dies, the bird flies to the sky. His grandmother is afraid of nothing. Not going up again. I'll take you down first." Using a knife, this angry shout, it instantly made several of them feel more awake. A handsome young man named Wen Yan. Immediately throw away the gun in your hand. Hastily reached for his waist. Yes, correct. Using a knife. But when his right hand touched the empty space at his waist, the entire body trembled, screamed, "Where's my knife?" Upon hearing these words, the several elder members of the pride felt a darkness creep in, almost lost my balance, fell to the ground. But 4 or 5 ferocious zombies lunged towards the students. Don't kill me. Mommy, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to become a zombie." Liuxian was so furious that he immediately found an opportunity to pull away from the crowd of zombies. Fired the gun forward. Thud, thud, thud. Unfortunately, the zombies surrounding us are just too dense. Adding these rookie players, they haven't cleared out a single zombie. Completely impossible to rescue. At this moment, a beam of silver light howled through the sky from afar. They were actually powerful orcs. The steel balls are no less than sniper bullets. Pachai pachai. In an instant, it plunged into the heads of the surrounding zombies, crushed their skulls to pieces, bursting out from within, transformed into silver arcs. Speed so fast, difficult to catch with the naked eye. More than 30 fierce and competitive zombies surrounded the crowd. They unexpectedly stopped in place. One falls after another. Bump, touch. Several students were already scared silly. They thought they were surely doomed. When I saw the zombie fall to the ground, everyone was stunned. Liu Meng and the others were also stunned in place, looking at the terrifying scene before me. Liu Meng's pupils constricted. These zombies, they are all dead. They are all made of those steel balls. He was filled with shock and disbelief, staring wide-eyed, looking at the steel balls floating in the air. He even started to doubt whether he was drunk and dreaming. Good. At this moment, a head was hit by several bullets. The first-level zombie that is still alive suddenly sprang up from the ground. Even the intestines fell all over the ground, wrapped around a piece of scrap wood. Pulled out, directly pounced towards Liu Meng, who was in shock. Liu Meng immediately reacted, just wanted to kick the gun. In the distance, a beast resembling a fierce tiger appeared, rushing over. With a single slap, crush it to the ground. Then he lowered his head directly, began to devour that first-tier zombie. Creak, click. This terrifying and ferocious beast. A sudden surprise appeared. Liu Meng's breathing was in sync. A crowd quickly gathered together, watching Qiong Qi with extreme vigilance. Even the seasoned lions who have witnessed many grand spectacles. At this moment I am trembling all over. I thought we were safe. I didn't expect it to come again. Looks bigger and scarier. Menchi, what should we do now? One person was filled with terror. The teeth chattered as they spoke. Liu Meng, I still want to ask you. How about it? Let's escape. Someone is here. Don't be nervous. This is a pet I've raised. Not far away, Chen Mo walked over with a curious Kai in his arms. The steel balls floating in the air. It also floats again beside the silence. There is still someone. Liu Meng felt a hint of caution rise within her, pointing a gun at the silence. Don't come over. You are a supernatural being. These are all done by you. Oh, Chan Mo looked at him with interest, gazed casually. Those present. I didn't expect that. They also know about the ability users. Silently nodded and spoke. Who are you? Also a survivor from this area. Liu Meng spoke with great apprehension. He is well aware of the terrifying nature of supernatural beings. Under Radi's command, recently several ability users have appeared. Each has great strength. Ordinary zombie. They are simply no match for him. But he is definitely not as powerful as this unfamiliar young man in front of me. Just a breath's time. We will eliminate all the zombies in this area. This is simply unbelievable. If the other party wants to, dealing with one's own words, the consequences are unimaginable. Liu Meng said in a deep voice, Don't come over. Keep your distance. A few veteran teammates around. They also raised their rifles. Silent, the expression was remarkably calm. Walked up slowly and steadily, not paying any attention to Liu Meng's warning. Dan said, If I wanted to kill you, you all have been dead like those zombies for a long time. Speaking, he gently lifted again. The steel balls beside me. In an instant, facing forward. The four rushed away. The speed is astonishing. It was impossible to tell when the strike would come. That steel ball. It has come to a steady stop right in front of me. The immense impact carried. Let a few people present. Everyone felt a stinging sensation on their cheeks. But Liu Meng wiped a bead of cold sweat from his forehead, unconsciously swallowed, opened his eyes wide, staring intently at the steel ball floating in front of me. This damn thing. What kind of strength is this? What? These steel balls? One by one, they returned to the side of silence. Silence. Did you see it? I want to kill you all. There's no need to go to so much trouble. Liu Meng's eyes kept sparkling. Shenhe Dao, everyone put down your guns. A few of the old lion team members beside him. When Yan put down the gun, Liu Meng forced out a faint smile, softly asked, "What do you want to do?" Silently watching the armed weapons and clothing on them. Before rebirth. It was the same when I was a lion. Silence. Oh, it should be the lion's person. Liu Meng felt a jolt in her heart. He slowly nodded. Yes. After receiving confirmation, the silent gaze suddenly brightened. At last, finally found Luo Jiangxian. There were others besides the silence before. A bit worried. This matter. Because of my influence, will Luo Jiangxian change his position? Go to another area for development, since they are all people of Luo Jiangxian. Then this will be easy. The leader of your lions. Is he called Luo Jiangxian? Once these words were spoken, Liu Meng and the others became even more alert. To know, now in Tianai City, it's not just the lion. A large survivor team. Do you know our boss? Silent nod. Take me to see him. I need to find Luo Jiangxian. Liu Meng frowned. It became stiff. You are looking for our boss. What do you want to do? Silence. You don't need to know. Liu Meng's breathing was steady, but just thinking about silence, after that terrifying strength, he still nodded. If you don't agree, I'm afraid that waiting for others will be dangerous. You come with us. I'll take you to meet our boss. Wait a moment. Silence holds a faint sorrow. Bang. Liu Meng turned around. At this moment, several male lion veteran team members beside me. They all gathered around, whispering to each other. Mengchi, really want to bring this mysterious guy along? Are you going to find the boss? He is so strong. I am afraid. Liu Meng glared at them. What else can we do? You imagine like those zombies. Is everyone hugging their heads? They didn't even dare to fire a shot to test. The scene from before. It's just too fast. So fast it hardly seems human. These zombies, they fell one after another. The team members glanced at the ground. The bodies of the zombies piled up. The road is completely blocked. They couldn't help but. Some tingling on the scalp. Liu Meng took a deep breath. Open your mouth and speak. I see him looking like. There is no hostility either. Otherwise, they wouldn't help us. Let's take a step forward and see what happens. You go and take the stones out of these zombies' heads. Get it done. Finished speaking. Liu Meng approached a group of students sprawled on the ground. Anger does not seek the way. Janet. A group of useless people. Soft-footed blind men. When they came one by one, aren't you quite capable? Look at you all in such a pathetic state. Not to mention killing a single zombie. Random shooting. Are you afraid that your people won't die fast enough? Liu Meng swore, this time returning. From now on, I'll take orders from Jiang Dongzhi. No more onboarding new recruits. Eventually, it will harm oneself. Everyone get up. Liu Ming shouted loudly. These students. He finally trembled and got up from the ground. I was almost scared to death by that scene just now. The peculiar expression of the one who lost the saber, pointed in horror at the silence not far away, timidly said, Liu Qi, that die, are you one of us? Liu Ming felt extremely annoyed as soon as she saw him. He immediately stepped forward and kicked. Kao Nai Maja, where's your knife? It seems to have been lost. The student said with some fear. Suddenly, a beam of fluorescence flew in. A brand new Nepalese army knife suddenly floated in front of the student's eyes. Is this it? The distant silence gently spoke. Picked it up on the way here. Knife, floating in the air. The student saw this. Her face was extremely pale. Both eyes turned into cross eyes, staring intently at the floating Nepalese kukri in front of me. Then everything went dark. Unexpectedly, I fainted. Against heaven, Liu Ming took a deep breath. He was so angry that he had nothing to say. Put away the military knife floating in the air. Turned around to look at the silent Tao not far away. Brother, thank you. Silence nodded, gazing at the group of lion members scavenging the battlefield, seeing their expressions a bit cloudy. Chop these zombies' heads open with a knife. Take out the golden box. Covered Kai Kai's eyes with his hand. Brother, I want to see. Kiki uses her small hands to push aside. Sayo Lion was not afraid at all, looking at this bloody scene. In the mind before, he even saw an even more terrifying scene. Silence trembled slightly. It seems unexpected. Kiki is so calm. There wasn't much more to say. It's good to have an early habit. Put away these poor quality gold boxes. Liu Ming used a knife to cut open the only first-tier zombie's golden box, also taken out. Walked over. He said in a deep voice, Brother, although I don't know what you want from our boss, but that's a different matter. You ultimately saved our lives. You are a capable person. These stones should be useful to you, right? You keep it all safe. Silently watching the golden box in Liu Ming's hand, somewhat surprised by his actions. Take it. Opened his mouth and said, Don't worry. I have no malice towards the lion. Liu Ming's expression was somewhat heavy. Nodded. I hope so. He turned around. Look at the crowd. He shouted loudly. Fill up the magazines. Which person? This little brat. After returning the lost equipment. I have to take him down. Let's go. All the way. The two gradually became more familiar with each other. Silence was understood from Liu Ming's words. The purpose of their arrival here, looking for someone, looking for some survivors along the way. For today's lions, more than 30 million in supplies, supporting hundreds of people. It's more than enough. It can't be consumed at all. Yet Yuo Changsheng's ambition was also immense. Want to survive in the Tianai indoor space. All found. Let them join the lions. Whenever Luo Changsheng is mentioned, Liu Ming re-entered with an unfathomable gaze, said in a daze, Brother, it's not me bragging to you. Our boss, he is a ruthless hero. Do you know our boss? Where is the most impressive part? The day before the end of the world, the boss told us to bring 30 million. Go to the city center those, food and supplies from the large shopping mall. All cleared out. Test. That scene is still fresh in my memory. More than 20 large trucks have arrived. Back and forth, moving back and forth,